Hi, my name is Ray Cabe, and I'm the head of operations here in GSI. I've been working with Guild for 4 years now, started 2017. So as an operations lead, I ensure that day-to-day operations run smoothly for both staff and onshore managers. Usually, I have a brief catch-up with team members on how they are and how are they coping up with the current situation. And also, I'm doing some administrative functions to support the teams here in Manila. The teams that are reporting to myself is the quality team. I'm also indirectly managing claims and admin operations team, and with Guild Link some of the administrative functions. I had worked with different companies now, and I can say that Guild is the most humane company that I've ever been with. We see people as the treasure of the company and even extending great efforts to support people's welfare. Change is very constant and we need to adapt to whatever is present. As I know that every staff is unique and has unique personality. When you have a bunch of these unique persons in your group, one leadership style wouldn't work out. So it's a combination of different styles that I learned from during the past few years. True introspection might be a bit hard as it requires an acknowledgement of your own flaws and weaknesses. But through this, you'll know where and how to direct your energies. And as you know yourself better, you will have a clear idea of what is right or wrong. And because leaders will be seen as people of influence, whether it be on actions or words. Once they see a positive influence on you, then you're on the great start of being a leader.
As Metro Manila reverted to general community quarantine last week, our operations team continued to provide excellent service to our counterparts in Australia. The offshore team was able to deliver 98% capacity whilst working remotely, with minimal outages due to isolated issues experienced by some of our team members. GSI also held its first monthly engagement activity, which is the online briefing, hosted by the 3 members of admin operations team. All of the staff really enjoyed the event and no one leaves an empty pocket. Lynn, Vic, and Kim were announced winners and grabbed the major prizes. Also, GSI conducted its first quarter town hall meeting last Thursday, 28th of August, led by the President and CEO Ian Moses, as he laid out his plan and vision for the entire 2020 to 2021 financial year. Our team members were also given an opportunity to ask questions directly, and some were able to express their heartfelt gratitude. Furthermore, we are looking for a new media specialist to help us out with our social media platforms. And we are also still hiring for a senior portfolio analyst. And if you're interested, please don't hesitate to visit our LinkedIn page for more information. And That's it for this edition of Weekly Wrap. For more information about Guild Solutions Inc., kindly visit our website at guildsolutionsinc.com.au. And for more news and content, please like and follow our official page in Facebook. You may also follow us on LinkedIn for more job opportunities and news about the company. For this week's wrap, my name is JC. Have a great weekend.
This edition of Thought Leaders is made possible by Guild Solutions Incorporated and Enabling Media.
Hello and good day to all of you. To our viewers watching in Australia, good afternoon. To all of you watching in North America, good evening. And to all of our viewers here at home and in Asia, good morning. My name is Kim and I will be your social media host for today. 2 weeks ago, we sat down with Krupa Stefanani in the second episode of Thought Leaders, where she walked us through how we can set goals and navigate through challenges. And you can catch that on our YouTube channel. You can catch that previous episode on our YouTube channel, and you can stream it also on Spotify. For more learning sessions, job opportunities, and news about the company, follow us on our social media properties. This March, we're featuring Women in Guild. As we celebrate the International Women's Month, we will be showcasing the talents, the skills, and passion of the women behind the successes of the company. Today, we will be speaking with Nadine and discover how new ways of working have emerged as a result of the pandemic and how we can take advantage of the digital technologies in these new work arrangements. This episode of Thought Leaders is made possible by Guild Group, Guild Solutions Incorporated, and Enabling Media. For our viewers in the Philippines, we will be flashing information on your screen on how to request for a certificate of attendance. To avoid distractions and ensure maximum participation, the form will only be made active at certain times of this event. So please watch out for announcements. Joining me in moderating today's show are my co-hosts Malin, Micah, JC, and Pancho. Oh, guys, today you are my angels. And now we're seeing some activity on our social media. Let's see. Charles Tomeldan. Oh, he's joining from QC. Hello, Charles. Hope you're doing great today. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Evelyn. How you doing? You good? Good morning, learning from Bulsu Bustos Campos from Carlos Santos. Hi, Carlos. Hi. Good morning from Najo. Hello, good morning. Hope you're doing great. And from Princess, good morning from Laguna State Polytechnic University, Los Baños campus. Wow. We have plenty of students joining us today. All right, that's it for now. If you have any questions regarding the show or if you have questions directly for our guest, don't hesitate to type them in. Also, like this video, leave a comment down below, and share this content to your feed so this one will reach and benefit the many. We are now transitioning to the main show. You are watching Thought Leaders with Nadine McMahon.
We all know what community is, but what does community feel like? It's the feeling you get watching the magpie family in your front yard patiently wait for you to bring them a snack. It's the feeling you get watching the kangaroos huddle together under the tree in your backyard. And it's the feeling you get seeing the flock of galahs play in the gum tree on your morning drive to work. But community is much more than a feeling. It's the way us Australians work together through thick and thin. Being a community means being Australian. At Guild, we're here for some of your toughest days. We're here through the fires and then through the floods. We're here through the break-ins, the accidents and the mishaps. We're more than just an insurance company. We're the people you call when it's all gone wrong. You're part of our community, our family, and we look forward to protecting you, not only now, but into the future. Guild Insurance, where community is what matters most.
Hands up if you want to retire richer. You go shopping, don't you? You like to save money? Super! That's exactly what Super Super is. Shopping plus savings equals super super. At Super Super, you get rewarded straight into your superannuation account. So instead of getting all these random points that you're probably never going to use, at Super Super, when you shop, you get money rewards that go straight into your superannuation account. For example, if you spend $100 at the grocery store, an additional $5 will be added to your superannuation account without you having to spend anything extra than that original $100. It sounds too good to be true, but it's not. Over time, your super balance grows every time you shop. Here's how it works. 1, sign up at our website. 2, select the vouchers that you want to purchase or the retailers that you want to shop with online. 3, pay using money that you've transferred into your My Cash account in Super Super by credit or by debit card. 4, go shopping. 5, watch your Super Super rewards grow in your Super Super account. Shop and save more to your super every day with Super Super.
Shop it up and top it up. Shop, save, super. Super, super. Super, super. Shop it up and top it up. Shop, save, super. Super, super. Super, super.
Hi, I'm Ian. Welcome to Guild Solutions. Guild Solutions is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Guild Group of companies based in Australia. Guild Solutions itself is headquartered in Manila and offers bespoke solutions for companies that require unique or have challenging business needs. How do we do this? Simple. We hire the best people, we foster the best culture, and we give those people a new and interesting challenge every day to allow them to grow and develop and move on to bigger and better things. And for our clients, what this means, we don't see problems, we only see solutions. We think differently and we're proactive, and most importantly, we make things happen. And all the while we do this while having lots of fun. So that's a really quick snapshot of Guild Solutions. It's been great meeting you, and I look forward to seeing you again.
This edition of Thought Leaders is made possible by Guild Solutions Incorporated and Enabling Media.
Good day to everyone. I'm joining you now from my home due to the ongoing quarantine in Manila. Good day to all of you. To our viewers watching us from Australia, good afternoon. To all our viewers watching us from North America, good evening. And to our viewers watching us here in Asia and here at home, good morning to all of you. My name is Jel, and welcome to another edition of Thought Leaders, where we feature our very own experts in Guild Group, sharing with us their knowledge and expertise. Every month, we will feature notable people with exemplary accomplishments as we navigate today's VUCA world. It is necessary for us to draw inspiration from people who actually made it. This month, we feature Women in Guild, and today's special guest is an amazing leader with notable skills in digital technology. Nadine has experience in support roles in different industries. In her early years, she started as an office assistant and worked her way up to different roles in different companies in Australia and New Zealand. Joining Guild in 2007, Nadine's first project was to help set up the first intranet at Guild Group. And she went on to work with the business on many other projects focused on helping people to get their job done. In 2019, her role evolved into becoming the group's digital workplace manager. In this role, she oversaw and launched projects that directly benefited the company's productivity and efficiency, and is directly involved with the user experience aspect of Microsoft Office 365 products. She's active in helping the group's transition to and confidence with using tools across the productivity suite, and enjoys helping people getting their job done better every day. Off work, Nadine loves reading, and during lockdown has been developing her green thumb. Later, Nadine will tell you what a plantita means, and maybe you're one of them. And is now managing to keep a growing number of houseplants alive and flourishing. Without further ado, friends, join me in welcoming our very own, live from Melbourne, Nadine. Hi, how are you?
Good morning. I'm well, thank you, Jill. Nice to see you. Welcome.
Indeed.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, nice to see you're back in the office. Quite a reversal of locations. When I was hosting hosting the previous editions of Thought Leaders, I was the one in the office, but apparently it feels like March 2020 again. That's all right. At least everybody's seeing each other in the office again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. It's nice to feel the vibe in here has kind of really picked up a bit, and to get to see people we haven't seen for a long time. It's really good.
I didn't know until just a couple of days ago that you're into plants again, or plants. In the Philippines, it has become a trend because everybody's just locked in their homes. We have a local word called tita, which is basically ant. So everybody who takes care of plants at home is called a plantita or a plantita. So I think I'll call you a plantita from here on. But kidding aside, Nadine, how's Guild Group doing nowadays, at least from your perspective when it comes to digital workplace?
We are in a really awesome place, I guess, in terms of digital workplace. And I guess, a silver lining for us in this whole thing has been that we've been able to develop and kind of fast track a lot of the things that we had planned and we're looking forward to for digital workplace. So in terms of being, much more advanced than we would have been even this time last year, I think we're in a really great place. And as the person who kind of is directly kind of working with that every day, I think the opportunities are just going to keep growing for us. So we're having to kind of now fast track our future plans as well to kind of make sure that we're keeping up with what's going to be coming next. But in terms of our digital workplace, I think we're doing pretty well.
And I'd like to echo that observation, Nadine. I think we're one of the companies who transitioned very well to remote working, and a lot of that can be attributed to to our agility to transition from the office to working from home, all because of these applications that has been going on with Guild even prior to the pandemic. Can you walk us through the strategies used by the group, most especially led by yourself, in deploying technologies like these to the workforce? Were there technologies that you specifically leverage, and any other strategies, to get the buy-in of the people to use these kinds of technologies?
Yeah, sure. So as you say, like we had already started a kind of journey towards our improved digital workplace, I guess, prior to the pandemic. And so the strategy that we were using and putting in place was kind of getting the foundation pieces in place, and then having some putting some key strategic projects around that would build on those foundations, but would also introduce some key tools company-wide to everybody, as well as piloting some smaller specific tools, so doing some kind of pilot groups with key pain points that people might have had. Keeping everything kind of reasonably simple, but building on the foundation that we'd put into place. So for us, what that looked like was getting the infrastructure and the behind the scenes of Office 365 all set up, and putting out some of the new features to our people. So, we'd already started using the new versions of Outlook, and people were getting Office apps on their phone, etc. And then we had also just in December last year done an upgrade of our very network-based intranet. And so we'd upgraded that to a SharePoint Online intranet, together with a key knowledge centre that some of our frontline staff were accessing. So that was kind of on a SharePoint Online foundation as well, so that everything was kind of familiar and integrated well. And we had also been running some pilots of Microsoft Teams for projects, so collaboration in projects. So we were doing some test and learn across that. So the change management that we were using, probably pretty similar to what other companies use. We had a working group that was helping feed in the requirements, or the pain points, and kind of helping us plan what that would look like. And then there were communications and training activities kind of around that to get the message out. We were doing kind of regular broadcasts to people about what was coming, and we were also trying to work with the working group to build them up as champions, as well as also kind of identify champions in the rest of the business to help get key people comfortable and skilled up with what was coming. So those would have been some of the kind of change activities that we were already using, and that were kind of working well for us to get those new things in place.
It sounds like it's rolling these kinds of technologies involve not just the technical aspect, but also the UI aspect, which I believe you're heavily involved in. I'm seeing all those weekly catch-ups before in trying to address any tech questions about any of the rollouts that we had in the past. And I think it has benefited the users one way or another.
Yeah, I think that's a really key point, that there is the technical side, and we want to make sure that works well, and that people have that kind of basic understanding of how to work things. But then it's also around the what's the best way to use those kind of tools, not just how, but how to get the most out of them, and how to use them effectively, so that we're getting as much value as we can out of the tools that we have, and it's not just implemented really well technically, but we use them well as a company as well.
Yeah, and I think a solid testament to that was way back last year, about the same time last year, to be specific, in Manila alone, and in GSI here in Manila, we were able to transition and sustain operations within 48 hours, and everybody was applauding it as impressive. But to be honest, it is because we have transitioned to quote unquote new ways of working ever since the pandemic started. Would you say, from a technology perspective, this contributed to the agility of not just Guild in Manila, but Guild Group as a whole?
Our chief operating officer has said to me multiple times over the past 12 months that when these kind of things happen, we just get handed this opportunity because it unfreezes the status quo. And so it kind of allows us to take these big steps that we wouldn't have been able to otherwise. So we had this great opportunity when all of a sudden everybody just had to work from home, and we got to put in the new tools and the new functions and get everybody on board in a way we wouldn't have dreamt would be possible even a month earlier. So as a digital workplace team, we'd been working for the last 12 months and looking forward and thinking, how can we enable people to work more flexibly? What will be the steps to get there? How can we get executive support for this? what great use cases can we use to showcase? But then all of a sudden that just went out the window, because all of a sudden we were just doing it. And so we were just doing this great experiment all of a sudden, and our pilot group was suddenly everybody in the company, not just a few people kind of who were trailblazers in the corner, but we were actually thrown into this scenario that we wouldn't have actually even thought of trying to plan for, because we wouldn't have thought it was going to be possible 12 months earlier. So that, completely helped us to kind of just get everybody in and start doing it. But having said that, we were able to do that because there had been the strategic thinking and the planning that was already in place as a company. So we also had some flexible work policies in place. So people had been taking advantage of being able to work from home. We obviously have, an awesome, strong offshore team already. We have individuals who had worked remotely, either, in other places in Australia outside of our offices, or, in other countries as well. It certainly wasn't the norm, but we were able to do it, and we knew that we kind of could. We obviously just hadn't done it on that larger scale before. We'd already started the move to cloud-based collaborative tools. So we had some of those key foundations in place. And as I kind of just said, we'd already, started the transition to Office 365 and had migrated to Exchange and had some of those foundational pieces. We had our new intranet, which was up and running just prior to working from home. We already had plans that we were going to be transitioning from Skype to Business to Teams for calling and for online meetings. And we'd already been piloting the Teams for smaller groups. So we had some of those, good pieces in place already. And then we also, because we'd been doing that, we had enough familiarity, I think, with the tools that we were, as a team and as a support team, we were able to be able to support and guide people through the basics. So we had those nice pieces in place, and COVID, as I said, just gave us that opportunity to just launch straight in and get people using these tools in a really fail-fast kind of way. We had been prior thinking, oh, should we start piloting, business teams using Teams? Well, all of a sudden, everybody just wanted one. And so we just threw everybody into a team site. And so that was just kind of there and ready to go. And people using the team sites and the team chat to stay in touch for their individual teams and across the business was just, a really great opportunity for us. And so all of a sudden, people were using the tools and were kind of seeing how valuable they were, which then also just kept having that steamroll effect, because then, people were like, well, now we've got Skype for Business and now we've got Teams. It's confusing. We've got all this duplication. So we're able to say, well, we were planning to, transition off Skype for Business later. Shall we do it now so that we can just take that problem away? And so we're able to kind of, I guess, respond more quickly then, because there was the appetite and the interest in taking those tools on more. So it's kind of like a nice self-fulfilling prophecy there, that we kind of had some pieces in place, but then we were able to just really start using, which then made people want to use more. So it was really helpful for us.
Tomorrow, Nadine, we're going to meet our COO, Elizabeth. She's going to talk about women empowerment and finding their voice. It's good that you mentioned her name earlier. And I'm being the COO, I believe she would be central to all of these initiatives that we had. And it looks like way before the pandemic, you, together with the support of Elizabeth and all of the IT team, had been supportive to deploy all of these collaboration tools. And if it weren't for that, it looks like, just like any other company out there, actually, I think majority of them would just play catch in this pandemic. Is that what your fair assessment would be like?
Yeah, I think that's right. We've been so fortunate in in our leadership and in the kind of, I guess, strategic vision of key people in our business, like Elizabeth, who is the key one of the key stakeholders for the digital workplace in the business, and is so supportive and just a real advocate for it. So having kind of, and also our CIO as well, having at this executive level people who really value and know how important a thriving kind of growing digital workplace is to help support people. Even having that way before really did stand us in good stead, so that at that time and ongoing, they're continuing, like, what can we do now, and what will be the next thing that we'll need to be looking forward to make sure that when the next thing happens, we're on the front foot again.
Yep. And it looks like the new normal is, well, the new normal. So even if the pandemic is over, it looks like maybe half or less than that, or even more than that. I mean, more than the current workforce would be, preferring to work from home, because there's some key benefits to it. Some people want to work in the office from time to time. So it looks like all of these collaborative tools are here to stay. And in speaking with Nick a few weeks back, he mentioned several ways on how L&D evolved during these times. And it seems like a lot of it, it looks like any other business would largely depend on technology right now to link all of their processes together, link everyone together through Teams and any other applications available out there. From your assessment, Nadine, what do you think was or still is the most effective means or technology that helped us keep the workforce engaged being spread into different locations and allowing teams to collaborate and work on time-critical projects?
For us, it was really about having access to these anywhere, anytime kind of tools to enable the collaboration and connection. And as I said, so for us, that was Microsoft Teams. It didn't have to be Microsoft Teams. It could have been anything that would kind of give us that way to bring people together, to have this kind of, face-to-face kind of, even when we're not together, connection. But for us, it was Microsoft Teams. So the online meetings were huge for us, huge for the world, wasn't it? Everybody was Zooming. So having that ability and being able to just jump straight in and have good quality of those meetings was really key. We're also a company that has a heavy reliance on physical Kanban boards. So we in our office and behind me, like, these walls had a lot of kind of physical boards. So how we were able to transition those across to digital boards that the teams were able to use, so that they were able to kind of keep in touch and kind of keep up with what the work was. Having the team site for business and project teams to enable them to be able to share documents and resources and ask questions and just keep the work flowing, as well as staying in touch with what was going on, was really, really beneficial. And having that, a really engaging chat tool, basically, that was still within the kind of work space, really helped us both from the personal and the work perspective, because, being able to share, different memes or just, pictures of what's your work set up, all of those kind of things, just being able to do those in a really easy way, which we didn't have before, was really great, I think, in helping us to keep everybody connected and also, like I say, to keep the work going. We also benefited from the fact that our leaders and our teams were both really intentional about staying connected, and I guess everybody was at time, because you wanted to make sure that you were keeping in touch with everybody to make sure everyone was okay, both from the wellbeing aspect as well as making sure the work could continue. So there were lots of regular team catch-ups, both work and social, and also cross-company activities that were going on that really helped to kind of connect people, I think, in ways that we hadn't been able to do before. And then we also made good use of things like our new intranet, which was, just recently launched, that we were able to kind of quickly set up like a COVID support hub on, and communications and all the information that people needed was now in a central kind of place, as well as having all staff channels in Teams so that we could communicate out to people. And also, we also brought together pretty quickly a nice kind of leader hub, which was a great initiative from our people and culture team, but we were able to quickly set up through our intranet and through Teams, so that our leaders were able to connect in. They had a regular, I think it was weekly to start with, it's now still fortnightly, but a way for leaders to come together, so that as a company, even though we're disconnected, we're able to all kind of stay on the same page, know what was going on, and then flow that back down to our teams. So, yeah. those were, I guess, some of the key things that were really beneficial to us. We were also really benefited from all of a sudden just getting that critical mass onto these tools. So before, when we're piloting and exploring with teams, the potential was recognised, but the full value wasn't there because, only a few people are using them. But once everybody's using tools, then all of a sudden you really see that value coming through from them. So it was really useful for us.
Teams is amazing, and you're correct. So when everybody, I guess, majority of us were working in the office, we didn't realize how useful it is, how powerful it is. But when we all spread apart because of pandemic, everybody was on lockdown. We realized how integral it is to day-to-day operations, and not just. It's just like Zoom in steroids, if I could borrow Ian's figurative language. It's kind of bringing everyone together, everything together. Files are in there. It's really amazing. I would have to agree to you on that. And in fact, if Sam could flash for us, we actually did a survey online and asked them what are the tools that they find very beneficial, and it looks like they are agreeing with us. MS Teams is just, really helping everyone cope and be productive during these times. If I were to pay attention specifically to just Office 365, Nadine, what do you think? Can you tell us from your observations how did the tools or the suite in all of Office 365 evolve, or any differences in utilization pre and during the pandemic lockdowns?
I guess one of the challenges for us is that we did start kind of using more of the online versions of the Office suite, for example, and getting familiar with Word Online and PowerPoint Online, those kind of things. That was kind of really happening around this time as well. So those tools can do some really great things. And can really help us work in new and effective ways. So things that we previously would have had problems with, that even simple things like, someone's in the spreadsheet that I'm trying to get into and I can't get into it now, so I'll have to, come back later. That just goes away now, because when they're, saved online, everyone can access at any time. It just doesn't matter. We can all just keep working together. But the flip side of that is that there is a bit of a learning curve, because there's, both how do I trust that the tools, that even though I've got no button to press save, that it's just going to save for me, as well as just getting my head around what those logistics are when everybody is jumping into a document together, for example. So we've got these kind of great benefits, but we still, I guess, can't underestimate that there will be a bit of a learning curve alongside it, and that's what we need to kind of help people with. Just even understanding some of the basics might take a little bit of learning for us, but thinking about what some of the the great features are, and the suite just keeps evolving during this time. But for example, like dictation in Word is really great for just being able to get things down in the flow of a conversation, or even for transcribing meetings. Reusing slides in PowerPoint from recent presentations you've used, or that other people in your team have used, so that you're kind of really starting to leverage the collective wisdom that's going on, and even things like the modern transitions in PowerPoint and presentation coach. So there's lots of these kind of features that are kind of within what we would kind of know as the traditional Office suite, that I think a lot of our people either haven't had the time to explore or even know about. So, a good part of my role is both to encourage curiosity in people, and also to showcase what's there, so we can kind of help to get people on the track that if they have been doing something in the same way for the last 5 years, maybe asking the question, is there a better way to do this? Often the answer will be yes now, with the tools that we have. And so developing that kind of curious, exploratory kind of nature is good. But it's also, the flip side is that this has been a hugely busy time for people. People are like heads down working hard, so there's not always that time for exploration. So that's where I try and fill a little bit of that gap. But hopefully, as we go forward, we might be able to have a little bit more time within the working environment to ask those questions and to explore. And so, keep raising our skills with the tools that we have. The other thing back along the lines of the usability of the tools is that, there's the technical, how do I use the tools and what's available for me to use in these tools that I'm familiar with, but also what's the etiquette of using tools, for example. So all of a sudden I share a document with you and you can jump in and make any changes. Do I feel safe about doing that? Or do we need to kind of develop a new kind of I say etiquette around that, so that maybe as a team we agree, like if I send you something, I tell you how I want to get the feedback. Please leave comments, in the conversation post beside a document, or please just make the changes directly. So there's that kind of getting used to new tools side of things as well, not just the how do I use something, how do we use them well. It's coming back to that again.
Dean, I've seen other companies work, and not to be biased, but it feels like their systems are a bit disjointed. Some companies would prefer to use Salesforce, which is completely okay, but sometimes it doesn't talk to their other tools. Like say for example, if they're going to use Salesforce and then they have Office 365, sometimes these two apps are not really integrated. But Guild took a different approach, and we're not endorsing any products. I mean, would love Microsoft to pay us or whatever, but we took a different approach, and we took a Microsoft first approach. Are there any other benefits apart from integration that you think may have that we benefited from this kind of approach?
Yeah, you're right. We did take that approach, and we think having having the majority of things, I guess, on a similar platform does give us advantages. So there is that integration and being able to leverage the different tools so that they do work together really well. But it also helps us with adoption and, take up of tools, because even though I just did say there is a learning curve, that learning curve is less because, maybe the tools look a little bit similar across the suite, and they I don't have to, know different passwords, or I don't have to kind of actually even go somewhere else. Everything just kind of comes to me within the space that I'm working. So there's definite advantages from that perspective. It also helps with having to switch systems, with having to really just, I guess we try and take away the fact that behind the scenes there's all these systems that people are using. We just try and kind of make it a nice, seamless environment for people, and the Microsoft tools allow us to do that. Now, having said that, Microsoft isn't everything. There will be other tools that our people need to use, and our people do use other tools. But one of the benefits, again, of using something like Microsoft, which is, so large and so well used, is that often those other tools will have an integration, or, some kind of way to already integrate really nicely. So, things like Jira or Asana that, different parts of our company are using. There's apps in Teams that can kind of bring those and integrate them in well. So, we really get the benefit from both using the Microsoft tools, and the fact that the Microsoft tools are so large that there's, a lot of different nice integrations already available in there. But we also, I think, have a great advantage too, because the suite is so large. The skills and the experience that our people are getting with these tools are transferable. And so these are, really great skills that you can use really well here at Guild to help you get your work done. But if you choose to go somewhere else, chances are high that another company would be using Microsoft, or that, really, like a lot of the tools that we use now are kind of similar. So if I'm proficient with using Teams, I should be pretty good with using Zoom or that kind of thing. So it really helps to kind of help us build up our people's capabilities, both to help us as a company now and to help them develop for their career in the future as well.
Nadine, looking at what could be the new normal, I mean, there's now the vaccines are slowly arriving. It looks like majority of the world is slowly recovering from what was 2020. It looks like everybody is starting to pick things up. I think it's a good testament to that. Is you guys in Melbourne slowly transitioning back into the office, which is a good thing. Maybe this is the new normal. Maybe isn't yet. It isn't yet. But what do you think would be the strategy of companies, from your perspective, when it comes to acquiring new technologies for their workforce?
I think ongoing, like even if we do come back into the office quite a bit, there still will be a good amount of time spent out of the office. So continuing to make sure that the tools all move as much as we can to tools that enable that flexible kind of work. So cloud-based, things that are accessible to people from anywhere, anytime will be a real key thing. And that's both from the kind of hardware perspective. So, what can we do to think about the laptops that we might be needing, or the PCs that we might be using for our staff in the future to keep enabling that way of work, as well as the software and the tools that we've been talking about already. And making sure that, like we're just also talking about, that these things work seamlessly together, so that the impost on the person is taken away, that they can just get on and keep doing their job, but that the tools work together in the background. And so, the strategy would be like, what we're looking at, can we do what we need to do in Microsoft, or do we need to, look at other ways to integrate into our environment so that can keep happening? Another thing we'll need to keep in mind as well is curating the information. So as knowledge workers, as people who are kind of, have easy access now to create information and documents and share that with everybody, there's a lot of information that's out there. So how do we find and surface and bring that back to people in a way that's useful is also something that we'll need to be looking at as a company. And making sure that even though our people are working in diverse and very different environments, that we can still make sure that our customer data and our personal intellectual property, our company intellectual property is secure, and that, we're compliant with the regulations that we need to be, so that our people don't have to worry about is everything okay, that we're taking, making sure that that's taken care of behind the scenes for people. Then,
sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was also just going to say, so how can we? The other thing that we need to look at, and that we'll need to be thinking of in the future, is how we can keep people working productively when we've got that kind of mixed working environment. Because previously, that was, I guess, a bit of a blocker to us, because the majority of people were in the office, and so it was different when people tried to work flexibly. All of a sudden, we had everybody at home. So again, we were all on the same playing field. We're all sitting at a desk with a computer in front of us. So in a way, it was easier then. Now we've got this mix where we've got people in the office, people at home. How can we make sure that that playing field still stays level? How can we make sure that people have a consistent, good experience no matter where they are? We don't want to kind of revert back to most people are in the office. We kind of forget that there's people working from home. So how can we make sure that we stay productive in that diverse experience going forward?
Are there any other apps out there, Nadine, that you think would be we could call as upcoming technologies that we haven't really utilized that much yet, either from Microsoft, Google, or any other provider that you see might be relevant?
Yeah. So Within Microsoft, we as a company haven't explored fully, I guess, some of the things like Power Apps and automations and things like that. So bringing together or looking at the processes that people have in the business and how can we kind of automate some of those? How can we maybe put together simple apps or things like that that people can use on their personal devices when they're out of the office or when they're, just doing tasks within the office. We've got a few of those little apps that are starting to be, not little, but we've got a few of those apps that are starting to be used within the business. I think we'll see a lot more of the appetite for those coming forward. And that comes back to that lets us maybe, look at what's an interface that we can put over a process or multiple systems that we need to use so that even if, again, we are using multiple systems or systems outside of Microsoft to get a process done, our people don't have to know about that. They just kind of have an app which they go into, they do what they need to do, and that kind of goes off in the background and does the hard yards for people. So I think using more of those within our company and setting up more of those will be really useful. Microsoft is also bringing out what they're calling the employee experience platform. So that is, I guess, a repackaging of some of the key tools that are in the Microsoft suite that will help, and the focus is on connection, learning, the knowledge topics that we were talking about before. So, that curation of bots or artificial intelligence that's kind of going out and looking at the knowledge that's in the company and kind of surfacing it to people, as well as learning. So how do we kind of do learning in this diverse hybrid working experience? A lot more self-paced or a lot more just-in-time kind of learning, I think might be coming out. How do we kind of help enable that and make it a useful experience for our people? There's also a big focus on wellbeing as well. So obviously, we want to make sure that our people are well and that they are, cared for regardless of the environment that they're in. And the technologies themselves are also, how can the technology help people with that wellbeing? So, there's things like, your digital commute, meditations through the wellbeing apps. There's a lot of that kind of side of support for people being brought into the tools that we're using. So, it'll be interesting to kind of see some of those come into place a little bit more and to kind of explore more of what we've already got that we haven't used as much as well.
Nadine, that was quite a lot of information that you gave us. Really, thank you for all of those. But before we let you go, we're going to ask questions from social media. So for all of you who are watching right now, just keep typing those questions on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We're just going to go for a quick break. And after that, we're going to ask Nadine all of your questions and then a few final words before we end today's session. Nadine, please stay with us for a few more minutes. We're just going to go for a quick break. Guys, you're watching Thought Leaders with Nadine McMahon. Please stay with us. We'll be right back.
This edition of Thought Leaders is made possible by Guild Solutions Incorporated and Enabling Media. We'll be right back.
The Mangrove Mountain community is truly very special and unique. We are the only childcare centre here, and we hold a really important place in the community.
My kids have come to Mountain Community Children's Centre since they've been young children. I actually came here as a child too, so I've got a real love and just connection to this centre.
So it was a Monday morning, and I actually got a phone call from the cleaner. The cleaner said, "Oh, there's a fire at the preschool." And I said, "What? At the preschool? The preschool's on fire?" "Yes." So I said, "All right, I'll be there." So I jumped in the car. The centre was still sort of on fire. I just looked up at the building and just started to cry. So I thought how much work everyone had put into this over the last 35 years.
It was very devastating. I remember crying in the car because I just didn't know what was going on, and it was just sounded so devastating, and it was hard, yeah. The support we had when the fire happened was amazing, with everyone helping with fundraising, and donations were coming out of the woodwork from everyone.
If we couldn't reopen in a temporary location, we would have had to close the doors, I guess, and the families would have had to travel elsewhere for childcare, which would have been really impractical.
People in our community need this service. They need to be able to rely on a centre to drop their kids off in a safe space.
The morning of the fire, Louisa actually rang me on my mobile. They were unable to save one of the buildings, which was their main building. Due to that, they had to close down.
She was really upset for us, and she said, all right, I'll get on to someone straight away for you and we'll push this through. Guild had an assurance assessor out that afternoon. So within a few hours, and then my first question was to him, can we relocate? We need to go somewhere, we need to find somewhere for our families.
Louisa was able to find out that they had this perfect place that they could move into with a few adjustments.
This space is really amazing, so we did it. Lots of problem solving. It works perfectly. We couldn't have asked for anything better.
My children settled in here straight away. They'd had 6 weeks off from seeing their friends, so coming back together was that moment where you just go, this is so right and this is just so lovely.
And we're all really excited about the new location. We'll be able to put our roots down, because I guess in our temporary space here, we've found our place, but it's sometimes difficult to actually make it your own.
We are all so excited at the thought of moving back into this brand new wonderful centre.
Every time we drive past, my kids kind of go, slow down, look at that, yes, oh, I can hear the workmen. It really is the future of our community.
Guild's always here for her. She only has to phone. If anything's troubling her, we're here to help.
I felt like we were never ever alone with Guild. Well, for your sense of well-being and security, it knows that you're never on your own, and you feel wonderful because you feel supported and you feel like you can get up the next morning, come back to work again the next day. And I'm so excited. I'm actually excited right now just thinking about it, so happy. Be elated, I think, yeah. I am so proud that I walk in this door every day. We started with nothing, with a pile of rubble, and we worked together with the insurer. We kind of designed, we developed, and then now we've got this most incredible space to come to work in every day. To watch the families experience the new site was incredible. That first day that they walked in the door, the best reaction was the families' faces. There was no words to describe how happy they were. The staff, the children and the families have all settled in so quickly. They're so resilient. I feel they've just embraced the new space. I could never have imagined that we'd be here right now. I knew it would come, but I didn't expect it. This is beyond my expectations. We were really surprised that an insurer would personally take on a small service in a small community, but because our service is so important to our community, they embraced that. We got this beautiful building out of it for our families and our children and our staff. I can truly say that I'm very grateful and very appreciative that we have Guild Insurance as our insurer, to know that we'll be supported for anything at any time. With this wonderful building that we have, Mountain Community Children's Centre can be flourishing for another 100 years. So that's really exciting to know that our future is here. We've got this wonderful building that we can just continue to use and to love and to let it grow with us.
This edition of Thought Leaders is made possible by Guild Solutions Incorporated and Enabling Media.
Hey, Kim. Kim, you're on mute, sorry.
My back! We are back! Yay!
You're all right. It happens all the time.
My bad.
We're live.
Yeah.
You're okay. Go ahead,
Cheers,
fire away.
thanks. Okay, we surely learned a lot from Nadine as she shared the strategies of the company in deploying technologies in the workplace, building infrastructure pre-pandemic, sustainability amid the pandemic. Also, how she envisaged the future of digitization, how to adapt to the new normal, and adapt to changing physical distribution of workforce. And lastly, keeping up to date with the trends and technology. Also, our request portal is now open for our viewers in the Philippines who would like to request a certificate of attendance. Just go to bit.ly slash GSI request 1. I repeat, that's bit.ly slash GSI request 1 and enter the information requested by the form. Let's take a quick look at our social media activities. Good morning from Jay Marie. Ooh, good morning, Jay. Good morning, Jovi. Hi. Hello, everyone. I hope you're enjoying your time with us. Yeah. Good morning. Good morning. Watching from Mindanao State University campus. Wow, I'm just so overwhelmed that these people are so open, and the ability to adapt to change is somewhat indispensable for the time being, because if we don't adapt, we don't grow, and if we don't grow, we die. Our career dies, our goals and dreams die, and whatnot. So I'm seeing interesting questions from our viewers. Are you ready for them, Nadine?
Maybe. Just fire them away.
All right. Well, Nadine was born ready. So here's the first question. Are there any other tools slash programs you can recommend as a substitute or replacement for Microsoft Office tools? That's from Carlos Santos.
Great question, Carlos. I personally, in my personal life, use a lot of the Google suites, so the Google Docs and Google Drive and that kind of thing, which has a lot of, I guess, the online co-authoring and sharing kind of capabilities that you get from things like Word and Excel. Probably not always as rich as the tools that have, because Office has been around for a long time and developing those tools, but they can, I think, get the job done really well and kind of accessible anywhere, anytime. And so I think are really great to kind of, be a good replacement for that. The other, like speaking about the more broadly than just the Office, I think also things like Slack or things like, those kind of tools are a really good replacement for Teams as well. So that you can often kind of just get started with and do a bit of a test of to see what the experience is like in.
All right.
Maybe just one more tip in the interest of time. Sorry.
All right. Okay. Last question from our audience from Ed's Ebias. So how can we engage people who aren't accustomed to working remotely using these tools? Be ready to utilize them. Again, so how can we engage people who aren't accustomed to working remotely using these tools? Be ready to utilize them.
Yeah, I think some of the things that we were attempting to use prior to the pandemic was around identifying what are some kind of key pain points or scenarios that would really help solve a problem for somebody. So if you can kind of find something that will help solve the problem, that will help get them enthusiastic and excited about the tools, they then can become a good communicator and word of mouth to go to other people around them, and become a real good champion, I guess, in that respect. So like probably what a lot of us experience. Like until you kind of have a need for something, you don't always see the value of it. So finding what's going to be valuable to certain groups of people and really helping enable that, and also giving them exposure to that, I think is really, really key.
Yeah, I agree. You just have to go find the right one for you, the thing that really fits your needs. Yeah. All right. I'm good now. I'm delighted to be speaking before you, Nadine, and looking forward to seeing more of you in the future. I bring back
Thank you,
to you
Kim.
now to Jel. Hey,
Thank
Jel.
you, Kim. Thank you, Kim. Fantastic management of social media. We'll talk again later. Nadine, just in the interest of time, it's Women's Month, and I'll be honest. In my I think about 18 years of nearly 20 years of professional life, I've rarely seen women in IT, most especially here in the Philippines. Whenever people tell me go to the IT department, it's a room full of men, and we're very much blessed today to see a woman lead digital innovations in Guild Group. In IWD's theme for this year is hashtag choose to challenge. Looking at you right now, it looks like you have chosen to challenge the norms from way back. What would be your advice for women who wants to flourish in fields dominated by men, more so in IT?
I was thinking back to how I got to this spot, and it wasn't an intention to be in IT for me. And to be completely honest, I'm not a technical person, but I sit within the technology team, so I kind of straddle both worlds. But it wasn't my intention to be a technologist, or even to work with intranets or digital workplace kind of thing. But I fell into this field by accident. And then what kind of led me here was really just saying yes to every time I was given an opportunity. And I think that's, something that is scary and that we don't always want to do, but just to kind of say yes when you're given an opportunity can lead you to the next thing, and you never know where you're going to end up. So trying not to be scared, and kind of remembering that we stand on the shoulders of so many women before us who would have given anything for the opportunities that we're being given now. So if it's in you to want to say yes, just do. And I think the other thing is also, how do you find something meaningful in what you're doing? So finding that meaningful why. I work in technology. I work for an insurance company, financial services. I don't save people's lives every day kind of thing. And I sometimes think, am I doing enough? But as a company, and like from some of the videos that we've been seeing, our mission is to be there for those that our communities rely on. So even though I never meet those customers, and I never kind of see those communities firsthand, every day I turn up to help make the experience of the people here at Guild as good as possible, so that they can make the experience for our customers as good as possible, so our customers can help our communities. So I might not be saving lives directly, but I'm having a meaningful impact through what I do. So each of us contribute to something larger. So if we can articulate that and really care about it within ourselves, that will help us both to kind of look to where we want to get to, as well as, when we're in the midst of things, if we're having a bad day or things aren't kind of going right, it helps us kind of like get past that, and also find some satisfaction in what we're doing on a day-to-day basis.
That was very inspirational. Thank you very much for your time, Nadine. We really enjoyed having you today, and I hope you enjoyed your time with us, because we learned a lot from you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. It's been lovely to be with you.
Thanks again, Dean McMahon, ladies and gentlemen, our digital workplace manager from Melbourne. Thanks, Nadine. Next week, this show will be made available as a podcast on our official channel on Spotify. So if you get the chance, please go to Spotify and look for Guild Solutions Inc. Now, tomorrow, March the 26th, we have another webinar, this time with our Chief Operations Officer, Elizabeth Ream, and she will share with us how to speak up in her talk. The title of our talk is Finding Your Voice. What a great way to end our special for Women's Month. Stay tuned for this last episode of Thought Leaders tomorrow, featuring women in Guild. It's going to be as insightful as all the other shows that we had in the past. It's going to be special because it will, apart from our special guest, it will be moderated by our very own CEO and President, Ian Moses. Now, on behalf of our team, Director and Executive Producer Sam Tusutari, who's done an excellent job directing today's episode, together with the graphics and all. Social media host, our social media princess, Kim Regala, magnificent management of social media today. Thank you. Pancho, who's managed. Oh, where's Pancho? Maybe he's gone for a break. Who's done an excellent job managing social media together with JC, Malin, and Micah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Enabling Media, enabling content through new media. I'll see you again tomorrow. Thank you very much. Maraming salamat po. And you have a great day ahead.
This edition of Thought Leaders is made possible by Guild Solutions Incorporated and Enabling Media. Catch the show next week as a podcast on Spotify. Follow us on our social media accounts for more informative content and job opportunities. For comments and suggestions, email us at makethingshappen@guildgroup.com.au.